Welcome to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, where we talk about homesteading stuff and life stuff and everything in between. Join me, Amy Dingman, as we explore big questions on a little farm. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast. Today is Wednesday, September 4th. This is episode 290. Thank you so much for coming back here today. I am Amy Dingman. I live in central Minnesota on a 5-acre homestead where right now life is pure chaos because it is crunch time as we are attempting to get all the things done, garden specifically, before our first frost comes, which, if you're in Minnesota, you know that traditionally our first frost is going to be the middle or later part of this month. So it just feels like, there's this glittering of stress on everything, crunch time, go, let's get this done. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. And we're going to talk more about that in the main topic. The main topic today is going to be, we're just going to call it something like buried in corn. I don't know. We'll get to it. But a couple other things that I want to tell you about, I guess we'll call them our Lifestead updates before we get into the main topic, is I want to share with you all. A lot of you already know this, but I didn't know it. And I just came across this super easy, wonderful, awesome way to make tomato pasta sauce. Okay, and now some of you, I'm gonna tell you the recipe and how I did this. And some of you are gonna be like, yeah, I've been doing that for years. And some of you are gonna be like, that's amazing. I didn't know that existed. I did not know this was a thing until I saw someone else talking about it on Facebook last week. And I thought, wow, that looks really easy. I wonder if it works, because I'm always so skeptical. So here's a really easy way that you can make tomato pasta sauce. Okay, so what you're going to do first, you're going to take all your wonderful tomatoes that you've pulled out of your garden, right? And you are going to cut them in half or quarters. You're going to core them. And then you're going to put them on what I call a jelly roll pan, which is a baking sheet that has sides. Apparently, not a lot of people call it a jelly roll pan. We had this discussion on Facebook one day, but I call it a jelly roll pan, but baking sheet with sides on it, because there's going to be some liquid here, so you want to keep that inside. Okay, so you're going to put all those cut up tomatoes on your jelly roll pan with a piece of parchment paper, if you have it, because that's going to be real helpful. And you're also going to take some green peppers from your garden and some onions from your garden, and you're going to cut them up, not in little pieces, just chunks, and you're going to throw that on there as well. And then you're going to drizzle some olive oil. You're going to shake some salt and pepper and garlic and Italian seasoning, whatever kind of stuff, sounds good to you. You're going to shake it all over the veggies. And then you're going to put it in an oven at 400 degrees and you're going to roast it, okay? Now, I can't tell you how long this is going to take because it's going to depend on what kind of tomatoes you put on there, like big fat slicer tomatoes or Romas or little black strawberry tomatoes or cherry tomatoes, like whatever you're doing, right? So it could take 20 minutes. It could take an hour and a half. But what you're going to look for is when the stuff that's in there is starting to get a little bit, I call it roasty, which is not a technical term at all. But it's going to get a little blackened, a little darker on the edges, right? You don't want to burn it, okay? But just it's going to get a little roasty. That's what I call it, okay? Then you're going to take that goodness out of the oven, and you are going to put those veggies that you have now roasted into your food processor or your blender, whatever you got. You're going to pour it in there. You're going to blend it up for, 30 seconds. I don't know. And that, my friends, right there, sitting in front of you in your food processor, now blended up, is pasta sauce. It is spaghetti sauce, okay? You have just made spaghetti sauce in the easiest way I have ever heard of. Now, some of y'all are like, yeah, I already knew that, Amy. I can't believe you didn't know that. So maybe this is just a reminder that not everybody knows what you know, because I went until August of 2024 before I knew that this was a thing. So share the information y'all have, okay? It's good. I forgot to mention you do not have to peel those tomatoes, okay? You just wash them. If they come in all dirty, you want to wash them. They just cut them up, take the core out, and you are ready to rock. It is amazing. Try this out. I made this sauce and then decided, of course, we're going to have spaghetti then because it was just so amazing. And I also made some of my French bread. I have a recipe for easy French bread. I will stick a link in the show notes for that if I remember. And so I just made a loaf of easy French bread, and then I cut it into really fat slices. I put that on a jelly roll pan. And I guess you could just be a cookie sheet if you wanted it to be, but just put it on there, those fat slices, slathered it with garlic butter, and then put some cheese on it, put it in the oven, 375, 400, and bake it until it is the meltiness that you desire. And then have yourself some spaghetti with that yummy pasta sauce and some cheesy garlic bread. And you're going to look down at your plate and you're going to be like, this is awesome. Look what I did. You're going to be so proud of yourself. So there you go. I hope you try that out, and I hope you like it. That's what I have to tell you today for the Lifestead updates, because all the other Lifestead updates, we're just going to shove into the main topic because it all goes together. So let's head over to the main topic and start talking about how I am buried in corn. All right, so remember back a few months ago in June, it was the beginning of June, okay, and my husband and I, we said we're going to plant some sweet corn, okay? We'd planted sweet corn a few times since we've been here. We've been here since 2011, and the very first time that we planted sweet corn, which would have been 2012, we had this amazing harvest, like so much sweet corn, it was just amazing. And every year after that we tried to plant sweet corn, it was just a bust. And so we just stopped planting sweet corn. We're like, this is stupid. Why are we even doing this? Well, this year, my husband happened to score a single row corn planter to pull behind the tractor. And he got that at a local auction. And he's like, we're going to try to do this sweet corn thing again. And so we were just going to plant a few rows of corn, right? We don't need a lot. We're just going to plant a few rows of corn. But but what we ended up planting was 17 rows of corn. And these rows of corn were between 60 and 145 feet long. Y'all, this is out in our backfield. 17 rows. 60 feet long, going all the way to 145 feet long. It was kind of planted diagonally because we started and we're like, oh, we still have seed, go a little bit longer. Oh, then we'd make another row. Oh, we still have seed, we'll go a little bit longer. And so we got all the way to 145 feet long, right? So didn't know if it was going to grow, went out there, weeded, with a cultivator and all of that. So, okay, we're going to see what happens. You guys, the corn grew, and the corn grew so well. It was so prolific, and it came ripe last week sometime. And so I started harvesting, and after harvesting 11 of the 17 rows, we ended up with 70 dozen ears of corn. 70 dozen ears of corn. Okay. We ate some of it fresh, obviously. We froze some for our own use, and we gave away a lot to family and friends. We were calling everybody, be like, do you need corn? How many dozen do you need? And some people were like, what do you mean, how many dozen? I'm like, you don't understand how corn works here, friends. You need to eat a lot. But we still have 6 rows left to pick, right? So we had 70 dozen with what we already picked. We still have 6 rows left to pick, and those 6 rows that are left are the ones that are the longest. Because, of course, we started with the rows that were 60 feet long. Now we have the ones that are 145 feet long. All of this to say, the corn grew, you guys. We are buried in corn. Buried in corn. And while I don't want to say I was complaining, but I was talking about the extra busyness that all of this corn and everything else is creating in my life. Someone who saw this post on a certain social media site said, that's so awesome that you have so much corn. I wish I had room to grow that much corn. And I saw that comment and I was like, whoa. I just stopped for a second. Talk about perspective. I wish I had room to grow that amount of corn. And I was thinking about that. I have room to grow more corn than I and my family and my friends will ever be able to use in a year. How awesome is that? And it reminds me that sometimes we just need a dose of perspective. And sometimes we don't know where we're going to get that perspective from, right? And I saw that comment. I wish I had room to grow that amount of corn. And I immediately heard, stop complaining, Amy. Because we are buried in corn, and we're buried in a lot of other stuff right now. But what an awesome problem to have, right? Homesteaders at this time of year are in overdrive because it's like crunch time. This is what we've been training for, right? But we have to remember we chose this life. We chose to grow and raise food. We chose to accept this chaos. And, we hope for it to be prolific. We hope for it to be productive. We want it to give us as much as possible. We want to be busy with our hands. Right now on my homestead, it's definitely crunch time because everything comes ripe at once. The corn, the grapes, the tomatoes, the this, the that, the squash, the everything. There's so much stuff to do all at once, in and amongst all the other stuff that you have to do this time of year. And this is not to say that this time of year isn't busy, because, oh my word, it is. And this isn't to say that we should bliss out as we're like dripping with sweat trying to get everything in, or we bring it in and then we try to find an open, flat surface somewhere in the house that isn't already filled with produce or jars that we've canned, or because everything, it's so much. It's just a lot. So I'm not saying that we should be like blissing out while we're doing that. But what I've needed to keep in the back of my mind is that a lot of the things that cause the most chaos in our life, those are sometimes things that we asked for. This time right now where you're like, I don't even know how I'm going to get this all done, it's the flip side of the awesome thing that we dreamed about. It's ground level, rubber hits the road. It's that part of all the stuff that we get giddy about on the opposite end of the year. When we're dreaming about how great the garden's going to be, right? And how wonderful the farm is going to be and how awesome it's going to be to have all this food that we created, right? This right now, that's the rubber hits the road part. And I know that most of us understand this. I know on some level we're all like, yep, this is all good. This is what we wanted. But man, when you are so busy that you don't know if you are coming or going, and you've got that extra stress of, I might only have 3 more weeks to get all this done because then it's going to frost and some of this stuff is going to be done, right? When you are in the middle of that chaos, sometimes you just need a 2-second reminder of, okay, but isn't it awesome that we can do this? Isn't it awesome that we have the ability and the space and the time and whatever it is that we have for this life that we chose to take part in? Isn't that awesome that we have that? And sometimes you just need that 2 seconds. So maybe there is somebody listening today who's like, okay, I got it. I can do this. Because I'm telling you, when I read that comment from someone, I was like, okay, I totally just needed that 2 seconds to be like, yes, I'm so busy. I can't even remember what my name is right now. And I'm looking at my list going, oh yeah, I got to do that. I got to do that. I got to do that. And trying not to forget all the other stuff that's going on that has nothing to do with the farm. I need that reminder. So I'm assuming that somebody else needed that reminder too. With that, I'm going to sign off because I got a to-do list a mile long and I know you do too. So this is a little bit shorter episode, but thank you so much for hanging out here with me. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this gave you just a little bit of perspective that you need to keep going through this chaotic time. And yeah, that's that. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I will talk to you again soon. Hope you enjoyed the show today. To continue the conversation, visit our website at afarmishkindoflife.com, find A Farmish Kind of Life on social media, or drop me an email at amy@afarmishkindoflife.com. Peace, love, and bacon, y'all. Stay farmish.